Welcome to the Asclepion. I'm Kevin McKegg.
And I'm Luke Strom.
Our podcast dives into the deep questions of life. How do we find love, discover our true selves, and live out our dreams in this wild, weird world? We're going to take you on a journey of philosophical inquiry, spiritual adventure.
Okay. Just imagine you're like sitting around a campfire with the homies and you all start opening up and talking about real shit. That's pretty much what we're gonna do here.
Yeah, or it's what I said.
Okay, look, all you need to know is that we have no idea what we're doing.
Welcome
to the Asclepion.
Asclepion.
That's what I said.
Part 2, Finding Love in the Modern World. First part, Kevin and I talked about why it seems particularly difficult these days to find a genuine romantic partner who you feel you can really trust and commit to, and why the dating apps usually prove to be unsuccessful in that pursuit, and why, in general, the idea of romantic love just seems to be kind of in a weird place culturally right now. And so, in this episode, we want to switch gears a little bit and get more into how love feels. How does love feel in you? And maybe especially for people who don't feel much love in themselves, it can be really powerful and helpful and healing to cultivate a sense of self-love. So this episode, we're really going to try to focus on how to build love for yourself and in yourself, regardless of whether you have a partner yet or not. Maybe you don't even want a partner right now, but I know plenty of people. I think, Kevin, you know plenty of people who...
I know plenty of people.
Yeah.
They're everywhere these days.
Too many people, man.
Way too many.
In general.
Yeah.
But especially people who are struggling with loneliness, struggling with self-identity. It's a long bridge to get to cross from I'm not really even sure who I am and I'm really struggling with myself, to then finding a loving relationship that lasts a long time, maybe even a lifetime. That's a pretty big bridge to gap. And so I think in the first episode, we took for granted the fact that a lot of people are really struggling just with their own issues or their own questions. And we've talked about it a lot, and we really think that finding a healthy place of self-love, self-worthiness, self-appreciation, those feelings can go a long way to bringing you to a place where you're more open to finding and receiving romantic love. And so we have a lot of things we wanted to cover, but just wanted to lay that groundwork. What do you think?
Yeah, that was beautifully put. I just think that if you want to have a successful relationship, that starts in your own heart and that starts in your own core. And I pulled this quote that I'm going to read from the great Carl Jung. Quote, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed."
I like that.
Unquote. Just to sort of riff off what you said, in this dance of love between the dynamics of male and female, masculine, feminine energies, my contention is there's a kind of transformative presence that sort of mimics or is informed by or actually is the divine love. Then there's different levels to it. There's like romantic love. We've talked about how there's filial love, friendship, maternal love, agape, love for your common man, eros, romantic erotic love, different forms that this thing breathes life into. And yet it's from the same oneness current.
Nice. That's a good way of looking at it, because I feel like a lot of people, and I think I've been there too, when you hear the word love, you automatically just think of romantic love. You automatically just think of relationships and dating. You've talked about it a lot where you view love as more of this pervasive force or energy or feeling that exists as a current in the world, and it can be expressed in a lot of different ways, not just
Yeah.
in a romantic partnership.
Yeah, I think it's a causal object. It's something like the foundational framework of the manifest universe that breathes virtue into all things and towards which all is transforming and evolving. Whoa.
Damn.
Sorry.
Kevin,
Just kind of zooming out a little there.
we just had some mountain mist tea. I'm pretty lit right now.
Thank you for that, by the way. Mighty gift.
Hell yeah.
Damn.
I remember when I was single for a long time, and
Nerd.
man,
Hey, that's not cool, man.
I felt like love was this mysterious, elusive thing, and I feel like part of the reason I really struggled to find a girlfriend was that I over idealized love. I thought it was only this like super divine, poetic, like perfect, amazing energy. And like it, I guess it can be that, but it felt really good to remember, more recently that love starts as this kind of grounded feeling in you. And if you're not feeling that in yourself, it can be really hard to envision what kind of relationship you want and to just build enough confidence to pursue a partner. So that's why we really wanted to dig into self love on this episode. Kevin later on is going to dig into, he's going to walk us through a really cool, powerful exercise to help build love in yourself. And you can use that whenever, wherever you are, whenever you need a little self hug.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless you're not worthy of love, then don't do the exercise.
None of you are worthy.
Oh, shit.
Just give up, guys. Yeah, I've been thinking about this a lot. I've been asking my friends how they view this, my single friends and my friends in relationships. And it seems like people in general, for one, most of my single friends really do want to find someone that they can really commit to and live life with and build a family with a lot of the time. And most of all, just to feel like they really found that one person. And on the last episode, we were talking about how it seems like that desire is still there, but it's almost like not talked about as much. It's almost like a faux pas to be like, I want to find a monogamous, committed relationship.
Yeah.
It's so much more in vogue to be like, well, maybe I'm poly, or like I'm gonna be on the apps for whatever, and I'm gonna do whatever just I feel.
I'm in a
moment,
situationship.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And everyone has their own journey with romance and dating and love and all that, but I just keep hearing over and over again how many people are struggling with this question of, why can't I find a great partner? Why does it seem so rare? Why does it seem like, and I'm thinking of these people as like, you're so cool. Like I love you as a friend, but I also feel like objectively you would make a great partner, and yet they're still really struggling. So it's really common. And first of all, we want to just encourage and invite people to discuss it more with whoever's willing to listen, and to just talk about that with yourself, have a conversation with yourself about your struggles, and, come to a place of acceptance with where you're at, whatever you're feeling, whatever your goals are, whatever you think your hangups are. But yeah, with this idea of cultivating self-love, there's this feeling of letting go, this feeling of forgiveness. You know what? Maybe I have been single a long time. Maybe I have screwed up a lot of relationships, but I'm going to let that go. I'm going to forgive myself and start over. And I'm going to know that I am worthy of romantic love. I am worthy of finding my life partner if that's what I want. And so I want to pass it to you, Kevin, because I think
Sure.
you can talk more about kind of the building that energetic feeling of self-love.
Yeah, well, that's sort of my domain. I feel that virtues, including love, are something like an eternal energy that gives rise to all manifest form, and that we're actually living God. Like manifest creation is the expression of love. So yeah, maybe that's too abstract. Maybe it's too philosophical. But that word philosophy means the love of wisdom, right? So you could say something like, if you're a lover of wisdom, then you are the embodiment of wisdom itself on some level. And your practice in life is to clear away the darkness, the impediments, the obstacles to actually exuding those qualities and recognizing yourself as living light, or the embodiment of enlightenment as it is. So again, just kind of like grounding this in a sort of philosophy, or grounding it in a larger meta narrative about, what are we talking about when we're talking about love in the modern world and finding love. In my mind, it's coming to an understanding of yourself as love already, and then figuring out how you can develop that and cultivate it. I recognize that's weird. It's like maybe it's a unique perspective. And yet, I think there's something to not seeking out there for love, but actually recognizing that you already are it, and then finding a partner to dance with who actually reflects you enough that you can clean the dirty mirror of your own self and cleanse your soul, and then become more of the embodiment of those virtues. Even if you don't believe in something like God or eternal spirit or the Alpha and Omega, or causal objects like love and transcendent spirit of wisdom or something, you could experiment with it. And then what happens when you go through life thinking that everything is alive with meaning? That's a psychoactive belief. It's going to change how you're viewing everything, including romantic relationships. So I'll just pass it back to you, because I haven't really touched into romantic relationship at all. Just wanted to kind of like frame, where I'm coming from, so we can get more granular as we go on.
Well, you said that the way you see it, we are love as a force, as an energy in a way. But what is love, man? Like, can you even attempt to define what it is? Because I feel like we've been trying to do that for thousands of years. And yet it's like, what the hell even is it? Because it's like, oh, you should love yourself. But dude, I don't even know what does that even mean? Like, what is love?
I don't know.
What am I supposed to feel?
Well, Jesus, man, what am I supposed to feel? That's an interesting question. You're supposed to feel what you're feeling. I mean, my personal meditation practice is welcoming everything that arises within the mind of the meditator, right? So nothing's off limits on the cushion. Your whole instruction is to feel exactly what you're feeling in the moment. Takes decades to actually do that because of our built-in resistances to feeling pain or fear or insecurity or whatever, or even more terrifying things than that. It takes bravery, I suppose, courage, coming from the core, coming from the heart.
Well, I feel like that's one of the difficulties people, especially young people now, seem to be facing is I hear this a lot. It's like, well, I like this person, we've been talking, but like, I don't know what it is. Like, what even are we? Or like the idea of putting a label on something, people are really hesitant to do that nowadays. And not that you need to put a label on something necessarily, but it's like, there's this, I think it's Phoebe Bridgers or Julian Baker has this line. She says, if this isn't love, then what the fuck is it? And it's like, I don't know. I want to feel like more people are like, dude, I love this person. Like, I met this amazing person and I think I love them. Like, the few times I've had my friends say that to me, it's so exciting. It's like, that's amazing, dude. That's so much cooler than like getting a new job or like moving to a new apartment. Like, whatever, man. Like,
Bro, I got a new Kia.
yeah.
If you're a mad scientist looking for love, you're not just looking for someone you can relate to. You're looking for someone who can solve your most esoteric equations. Someone who wants you to smell like sulfur dioxide all day. Well, guess what, Einstein? Mad Scientist Mingle has a beautiful, frizzy-haired genius waiting just for you. Mad Scientist Mingle is the only dating app for mad scientists by mad scientists. That's right. Everyone on our team has been cast out of society for being too smart and too weird, just like you. We know how fun it is to make useless inventions and fill vials with weird green stuff all day, and we say, why not make it a date? Just think of it as having a lab partner that you can make out with. Download the Mad Scientist Mingle app and meet someone who loves you as much as their ridiculous experiments today. Mad Scientist Mingle, the only place where science, love, and insanity all come together.
Love. Wow. It's truly transcendent, and it's one of the most important things in our lives. And I think everyone's confused and we don't know how to talk about love. And like you said earlier, it's become sort of gauche to put, quote, labels on us. But labels actually are words that contain energies for them to turn into a magical fairy stew. I don't know why I said that. I just imagined a witch's pot of magical loving energies contained by the labels of calling it a, committed relationship or something like that. Like I very much believe in relationship containers so that there's enough safety to like engage in the alchemy of romantic love. And that might look like something like, okay, we're not going to sleep with other people. We're committed to each other. We're going to be emotionally loyal to each other and commit to transparency and honesty. And even if we're not right now committing to a long-term relationship, we're going to keep checking in. And I find it's really helpful to have the container of time too, of saying, hey, if we're in an argument right now where we're not seeing eye to eye about something, I'm going to suggest that we try X as a solution to that and then revisit this conversation in 5 weeks so that we can both relax during that time and try something new without it being this sort of like indefinite vagary. Like I love the definiteness of having boundaries in relationship. It's beautiful. Boundaries in some sense create the conditions for love to flourish more fully. I stand by that. I've seen it happen in my life, in my relationships. Which is to say, even if you're not in a conventional context, there are still ways that you can create boundaries, use your speech and your words to create a container, a healthy, tight container for your relationship where you both can truly thrive. How's that land for you? Anything you want to compare notes? Because you're in a monogamous long-term relationship. You could say that's a more conventional framework, and that's great and that's beautiful.
Well, yeah, everyone is obviously free to make their own choices about what kind of relationship they want to have. And as long as it makes you happy, then that's great. But one of the things we wanted to talk about today is being really clear with yourself about what you want, what you expect, what you desire in a partner. And I believe we talked about this a little bit, or at least I talked about it on previous episodes, but the practice of having a conversation with yourself and saying, wow, I actually do want these specific things. And then that feeling of recognizing that, shifting your behavior, shifting your actions, shifting your energy towards actually receiving that thing you desire or that person you desire. And most people call this manifestation. There's no denying it.
Hashtag manifesting.
Manifest that shit, bitch. But there's definitely something to be said about going from a place of ambiguity and not knowing what you want and just kind of doing whatever, being on the apps, come what may, and then saying, you know what? I actually do know what I want. I just haven't accepted it yet. I haven't written it down. I haven't said it out loud. I haven't said it into the mirror or to my therapist or my best friend. And that act of putting it out into the world, it does seem to do something. I mean, you can't actually pin down how manifesting works, but I think at least on a psychological level, it kind of gives you confidence because you're like, wow, now I don't feel like I'm just meandering anymore. I'm not just adrift at sea with no land in sight. Like, I actually have a compass now. It's really empowering. And it might take you another year or longer to find a partner if that's what you want, but getting your coordinates, getting your bearings down is essential to any road trip or any journey. So why
Any
wouldn't it?
space odyssey?
Yeah.
Any Mars mission?
Why wouldn't that apply to finding a romantic partner as well? And I do have to say that I know,
Sure. It's a different field.
yeah, it's its own world for sure. I do have to say that I know people who have found amazing partners who've basically been together their whole lives who seem to have stumbled upon each other really randomly. Like, I don't, as far as I know, at least, they didn't do this premeditative questioning and reflecting.
Yeah.
They kind of just stumbled upon each other, and
Yeah,
that's
it just
beautiful
goes
too.
to show that they're going to fail in the long run.
Yeah, that's wrong. Break up now. So I don't want to say that this is the only way to find a partner, but I do think that
Yeah.
for various reasons, so many people are struggling with that, and I think this can really help.
Well, here, let me offer this. In part one of this series, we were talking about how the relational dynamics have shifted and the entire field has shifted from conventional to individualistic and now into who knows what. And we're living post-COVID in this world that's become more complex than any of us can really wrap our minds around. And it's going to require different technologies, different psychotechnologies, if you will, those technologies of the soul and the mind and the spirit, in order to navigate a field that has dropped into subtlety that we don't fully understand yet. So maybe this is one way of offering a new way into this dynamic, is to talk about manifestation and the ability to first visualize what you want and then slowly find yourself moving towards it.
Yeah, totally.
What do you think?
Yeah.
And just to ground that, that would be something like tuning to your own heart, feeling into what you truly want, starting to assess it, even journaling and writing it down. Writing like, if I woke up tomorrow morning and I had my dream life and my dream partner, what would it taste like? You know, I sort of imagine waking up in a beautiful, well-lit home by the coast and smelling roasted coffee and the salt sea air, you know. Like, you can get that sensorial about it, and then starting to sort of affirm your desires within you, like you talked about yesterday. Affirm your desires and say, yes, I want this. Wow, yes, I want this. And then sort of notice that through the inquiry and through the visualization and the affirmation of that visualization, that you're, it's almost like if you have the faith that you're going towards your ultimate good, that actually puts you on the path towards your ultimate good. I have a strong suspicion that's true.
I mean, that's again what the whole manifestation law of attraction idea is about. And Kevin and I are not like these huge, we don't go around like giving our friends copies of The Secret for their birthday. Like,
Yeah. We're founding an ayahuasca church, actually.
Yeah.
You can come and
that's more our vibe. Yeah. It's a nonprofit. Um,
with religious exemption.
but just to give a few examples of things that you could think about, it's like, what is my dream, and don't be afraid to say what is my dream partner like, but what do they look like roughly? What do they sound like? How do they make me feel? What do they give me? And then on the flip side,
Yeah.
what do I give them? What do I feel like when I'm with them, when I see them smile, when I hear their laugh? Fill yourself up with all of these feelings. And
Maybe this is a really good time to segue to talking about self-love as the sort of first
Yeah.
step in that,
Yeah.
because of how important it is to kind of fill your cup until it runneth over and you can actually give to somebody else from a full place,
For sure.
right?
How do you think about that? How do you think about the reflection that happens before you even start thinking about your ideal partner? What has to happen for yourself to fill your cup and to feel really good, like you're in a place where you can start to aim towards finding a partner?
There was this great book called The Alchemist, written in 89, the year of my birth. It was kind of a seminal work for me as far as my spiritual growth because it was so accessible when I was 8 or 9 that I sort of got the gist of some of these spiritual ideas without having to be, intellectually capable, as maybe an adult would be, to understand some of the principles. But when the young boy meets the alchemist tells him that the first stage of alchemy is dissolving off the sulfur. And dissolving off the sulfur from the base metals is an analogy for burning off the karmic residue of fear, anxiety, loneliness, all of these things that haunt our days, as modern humans who are isolated from the source, perhaps. So I think that's sort of the gist of what I'm trying to say. You're in a process of personal and interpersonal alchemy. And the first stage is kind of burning off the impurities that lead to you not being able to love yourself fully so that you're not looking for somebody else to fix you.
Mm-hmm. That's a good part of it for sure. If I can add to that,
Please.
2 things that come to mind. One, you can basically do the same thing as far as envisioning your partner. You can look at yourself and ask yourself, what do I love most about myself? And for a lot of people, including me, that's a very weird, even narcissistic question to ask. It took me a long time to really feel like it's okay to like think that I'm cool, to think that I've done good things, to think that anything that I am is good. And that sounds kind of crazy too to say that, but I guess I think I took the virtue of humility to an extreme, and that got in the way of me feeling like really proud of myself and happy with what I've been able to do with my life. And those are essential things for feeling to give yourself a hug, And so to ask yourself, okay, well, what are the things that I find really cool and good about myself? So before you start thinking about your partner, to get to this place of self-awareness.
Assess your own virtues.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. It's
Make a fucking list.
you might be surprised if you've never done anything like this before. You might be surprised at what comes up, and yeah, then you're like, oh, I am actually pretty cool, and I would actually make a pretty dope partner for somebody. Then you just get more confident, and you're like, yeah, now I feel worthy. Now I feel like I can write down the things that I want in a partner and relationship. And but if you haven't done that, it can be hard to get to a place of feeling confident and feeling like I feel like I was like, oh, what right do I have to try to go after this ideal partner when I don't even feel that good about myself? Like that was a huge realization. And so the other thing with that is I wanted to talk about what we think are the main things that get in the way of self-love, because I feel like most of us know that self-love is a thing, but I think either we kind of neglect it or we forget about it, or we haven't really taken the full dive to creating a practice around building it day by day. And so you I know you have some thoughts on that. So what are the main things for you that you think in a large scale way that prevent so many people from feeling that?
Fear, false humility, fear parading as pride. I'm just going to hold myself together. I don't need anybody. Independence is great as long as it's not a belief about yourself that's coming from a place of fear that's actually getting in the way of you engaging with intimacy because you're scared. What do you think?
Well, I agree. Yeah, I mean, there's probably a long list of things that people feel internally that get in the way of this kind of virtuous self-love. But I think not enough is said about the external things that prevent us from feeling that. And I'm thinking of the hyper competitive nature of particularly America. And we all know, especially those of us who live in cities, maybe more of us who live on the coasts, you feel that you're constantly comparing yourself to other people. You're always seeing these versions of success. No matter what you're doing, there's always someone better than you. There's always someone ahead of you. They've got more money than you. They're better looking than you. They've got more cars, right?
And intellectually that's always going to be true, but it's hard not to compare yourself to somebody that seemingly has more than you do
Yeah.
on whatever level you value.
We're confronted with those forces every day. Every time you go on the internet, every time you drive down the street, there's billboards with really attractive people or rich people or whatever. And it's definitely a curse in America. And God, I think so many people are not aware that you can shift away from those feelings of envy and constant comparison. It's really hard because they're there all the time. They're just coming at you from every angle. And
Yeah.
so I think that's a huge external reason that we have a hard time remembering that, like, hey, I'm an individual person. I have my own history. I have my own passions and desires, and I'm going to take stock in that and appreciate it and screw everything else. I don't care about Spencer who, got a promotion and I didn't. I don't care about the guy down my street who, seemingly has it all. I'm just going to look at myself and focus on the things that I care about in myself.
Nice. I love that technique. Yeah, I wanted to sort of dovetail off that. And it does seem like the shadow of materialism in our Western capitalist society is envy. And that's sort of sleeping in every nook and cranny of the system itself. Now, you know me, I'm a fan of capitalism, like compared to the alternative. And I feel extremely lucky to be participating in an economy where the rising tide lifts all boats. Well, maybe not all of them, but the rising tide lifts most boats. We definitely have problems written into the system, such as the is that what it's called? Pareto distribution?
Yeah, something like
I
that.
think I fucked that up. Sorry, Pareto. I fucked up your name, dude. He was Italian. Pareto. Let me actually look that up.
Well, maybe he should have spelled his name in a pronounceable way.
People always ask me, they say, Kevin, you've got such impeccable style. Your wardrobe is a literal grayscale. You don't wear outfits, you have a uniform. I say yes, but I wasn't always this way. I once had extraneous crap too. Cheap Chinese manufactured goods with garish labels. Synthetically dyed clothes in gaudy colors. Yuck. They ask me, Kevin, what's your secret? Well, my friends, do you really want to know the secret to my impeccable apparel excellence? The $1,000 hoodie. That's right. The $1,000 hoodie is so essential to your wardrobe, you won't need to wear anything else. It doubles as underwear, socks, t-shirt, even a formal black tie, all wrapped into one. Plus, with no logos, tags, or identifying markers whatsoever, you'll be sure to hold the people around you in constant awe, blown away by your aura of mystique. Make the fashion understatement of the year with the $1,000 hoodie, the only piece of clothing you'll ever need. Limited colorways available. Just black.
Yeah, it's called the Pareto distribution, and I'm consulting my chatbot, and the Pareto distribution, it says, is a power law probability distribution used to model phenomena where a small number of occurrences account for most of the effect. It's often summarized by the 80-20 rule. 80% of effects come from 20% of the causes. And in economics, it's attributed to something like 20% of the population creates 80% of the economic value or something like that. And there's kind of this increasing disparity between the tops and the bottoms. I don't think that's the term. Between the haves and the have-nots.
Yeah.
Those at the top and those at the bottom.
Bruh.
Bro.
Why is there a sexual connotation for everything?
To everything. Where were we? Why did I go on that tangent?
We were thinking
Just
about...
because I wanted to say that I love capitalism as opposed to its alternative.
Yeah.
And believe in the economic models of the U.S., even though there's problems in them. And there's also the shadow of envy and enmity written within our human nature, and it hides out in the corners, and you compare yourself to everyone around you, as you were saying.
Well, I was talking to my friend yesterday. He's a single guy, and he's someone who I would say is a very loyal, very upright, solid dude. I would, if I had a female friend who was looking for a great guy and I thought they were maybe a match, I would set him up, which is a high bar for me. I would not set up just any guy with one of my female friends because that's a high bar. Anyway, he was talking about how he struggles with kind of over romanticizing his ideal partner, and he gets hard on himself because he's like, how much is too much? Are my standards too high? Where is the limit? Where is the line? And how can I feel good and realistic about what I expect? And I thought that was a really good point. And speaking from my experience of having done that sort of reflection on the type of person I wanted to attract, and then, finding someone who matched most of that or all of that, the big thing that I've felt is, even though it's an amazing success and an amazing surprise to actually find that partner, they're still just a person. They're still an individual human being with their own history and faults and insecurities. You're not going to be able to foresee everything about this person you want to attract. You can foresee what you're trying to write down and reflect on, but you have to remember that when you actually meet this person, there's going to be things that still surprise you, and that's awesome. There should be things that surprise you and challenge you. And so don't worry about over romanticizing or where that line is of having too high of standards. As long as you recognize that you've met some person you really, really connect with and they're hitting these levels that really matter to you in a partner, then just remember, oh yeah, like we're connecting as two like organic beings, as two animals, like it's not at that point, the intellectualizing, the reflecting, it kind of stops, and they take on a different form because you're in this organic relationship now, and you're starting a new course of evolution as a relationship.
Yeah, well put. Dan. Say less, brother. I love that. And we were talking last night about how in a transformation ship, not a relationship, but a transformation ship, the whole is greater than the sum of the parts.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're successful in manifesting your dream partner and he or she reflects the ideals that you value most, you're right. There is a certain point where you just have to trust and surrender to that and stop fucking thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. 100,000% agree.
Yeah, I want to tie that back to self-love as a feeling, because to me, when I feel that, self-hug, self-compassion, I stop analyzing and critiquing myself and my thoughts, and I'm just like, yes, I just am. I'm in my body. I'm almost in the flow state, but I'm like acting from my intuition, and I'm acting from this sense of, this is who I really am. I know that I feel like myself right now, and I feel like my actions are in line with that. And so, yeah, I don't have to do all this questioning right now. I can put that aside. I can let that go. And I think the energy of love itself is very much an energy of letting go, of not thinking. We talked about it yesterday, how when you see a couple on the street maybe, and you can just tell right away that they're just very much in love. They're very much, maybe they're in the honeymoon phase, but maybe they've been together for 10 years and they're just great, Their energy is just awesome. They're putting it out into the world, and but it seems like they are doing this dance. It seems like they're at play. It's almost like they're kids. They're just like laughing at each other. They're not thinking like, oh, well, today could have been a little better. And I'm still thinking about this one quality that I wish you had. And it's just like, no, man. When you're in that real thing, it's this almost unspoken connection that you have. And it's just this intuitive anchoring between you two. And so remembering that for yourself can be helpful.
Can be helpful. Praise God. Sing the Sermon on the Mount. It's fucking wild, dude. The I want to just trace this back to my initial thoughts on divine love versus personal love, right? There's something to when you're surrendered into a relationship container that's enhancing the qualities of love and creating a high or a heightened quality, like you love everything about that person. And all of their little like quirks and flaws become alive with meaning. And then you look around and everything's heightened, and children are laughing and playing, and like the wind is hitting the tree in such a way that it's whispering its leaves, and it goes past conceptual frameworks into the experience of the poetic. And love is alive in everything that you're perceiving. And there's something about relationship being a doorway to the divine presence of love that I want to just bookmark here. Because that's sort of the point that I wanted to make with my comments at the outset of this whole thing. Because I'm trying to, on some level, I'm trying to create a bridge between the pursuit of something like divine love and the nitty gritty on the ground, like finding a partner that works for you in this world. And ultimately, they're not separate, just like yourself and the divine aren't separate, right? But relationship is another place, a we space, an irreducible facet of the universe that requires your attention on some level if you're a human being, because we're social animals and we need each other, where you can foster the transcendent current of divine love actually manifesting fully in relationship. It's like, it just feels miraculous to me.
Well, on the last episode, we talked a little bit how I think in a lot of people nowadays there's a sense of disillusionment with love, and oh, I've tried it. It's not for me. It hasn't worked out. I just don't think I'm meant for love, right? All of these self-defeating feelings, which are totally valid. Like, it's obviously really sad when you go through a breakup or someone cheats on you, something horrible happens. It's totally understandable that it crushes you and it makes you feel like love is shitty, it's not worth it. It's not worth all the pain. I get it, but I think you're right, where the possibility of finding, I'm just gonna say it, true love.
True love.
Yeah. Let's bring true love.
Raise it.
Finding that, I think, definitely can be a gateway to this higher level of, I guess you could call it spiritual love. However that manifests for you, whether that's Christianity or Buddhism or just your own personal spiritual feeling with nature and the universe, what have you. Absolutely. That feeling in itself can bring you closer to nature, can bring you closer to the whole world. It can increase your compassion for strangers. It makes you feel more safe. It makes you feel warmer, healthier. It makes you feel more empowered towards your goals. It's crazy how it bleeds over into all these avenues in your life. It just fills you up. And I just think people aren't saying that enough. It's just like, oh, maybe love, whatever. It's like, again, I'm not trying to force relationships and stuff like that onto people, but just to say, like, all that stuff is real. It is real. It is possible. And I really think that anybody can find it.
It's like Steve Winwood said, bring me a higher love, motherfucker.
Whoa.
That being said, why don't we transition into the practice
Okay.
so our beautiful audience can get into an embodied experience of self-love? Anything else you want to say before we do that?
One more thing. This feeling of love in a partnership, I think it makes people feel scared often, almost to the point of like, it's so scary. It's such a big thing. It's so hard that I might not even try. Or like, if I feel like it's happening, I might run away. And a huge benefit of trying to give love to yourself first is that you're kind of getting experience with that ahead of time. So instead of just being in this place of being anxious and afraid and uncertain all the time, and then you meet someone cool and you're like, it's too much. I think that's happened to me a few times. So practicing self-love, however you want to do that, can bring you into that space of, oh, like I know what love is in a general sense. Like I know how to give that to myself, and it doesn't feel like such a slap in the face or a scary thing when I meet someone who I'm really getting that energy from. And it could just be a friend. It could just be a really nice barista that you meet, who knows? But especially with romantic love, I mean, there's so much in common with this love for yourself and love for your romantic partner. Especially the biggest one, I think, is forgiveness. You forgive your faults. You know you have insecurities, anxieties, fears, but you say, in spite of that, I'm okay. I'm looking at myself, I'm looking at my life, and I feel loved by me. That's such a strange thing to say sometimes, but if you can do that, then when you start trying to date and find a partner, it's not going to feel as foreign, and you can give that person so much more when you're cultivating it in yourself. You can let go, you can forgive them, you can be in that place of continual compassion with them. It's like practice, I think.
Yes, I agree. I think that's really well put. And yeah, this practice of cultivating self-love in yourself is the way that you boil off the sulfur in the process of alchemical transmutation. And so you become aware of your ego's habitual defenses of receiving love, because it might render you vulnerable or you don't feel like you're worthy or whatever it is. You start getting to know your own habits of heart and mind.
Yeah, baby. All right, man. Let's get into your exercise. You ready?
Let's do that. All right, so per usual, I'm gonna do this exercise as if I'm teaching you, and you'll be the proxy for the audience. So first, get yourself into the full lotus and actually levitate off this daybed.
Okay.
Okay.
Levitating.
No. Find your feet. Notice the quality of your sits bones wherever you're seated. Maybe close your eyes.
If you're not driving.
If you're driving, close your eyes and trust that the universe is driving you too. Notice the quality of your spine. Gently throw your shoulders back. Let your shoulders drop. Let your shoulder blades peel towards each other, gently opening your thoracic spine and your sternum, right? So not puffing your chest out, but just allowing it to be open. This area of the heart, this core, the place from which courage comes. Just take a few deep breaths into your lower body, into your belly, allowing breath to fill your belly and torso and lungs. Noticing how the rib cage is a elastic thing. It's very movable. On that inhale, letting your torso expand, and then long, so slow exhale, almost like you could push air out of the soles of your feet. Let the muscles on your face relax, and then come to an awareness of your heart. Your heart beating, the faint pulse at your wrist. Almost like you could sense or envision a golden sun or a candle flame or a bonfire at the center of your chest, enhancing it with your breath, oxygenating that central fire and allowing it to create warmth. Now imagine somebody you really love. Could be a family member who's alive or no longer with us. I think of my grandfather, Tom. Could be a pet. Could be a character from a novel or a movie that you really love, who represents the ideal of romantic love or just love. Imagine them standing in front of you, smiling at you. And imagine whatever habitual defenses normally get in your way of blocking out the feeling of being fully loved, 100%. Letting that melt as ice around this fire of your own heart. Letting the warmth of this loving presence you're imagining in front of you feed this loving presence that's within you. And finally, merging with the object of love in your vision and allowing your heart and their presence of love to be one. That their smile is already within you. Take a few deep rounds of breath into that experience, that integration of outer and inner. And as always, thank yourself for showing up to this practice, knowing you can always return to this place whenever you want to or need it. And for now, gently sealing the practice.
Bing.
Dong.
That was awesome, man. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I want to add one tiny, tiny button onto that. I think it can be helpful when you're really in a pinch, when you're really stressed, when you're in the grocery store, need to get some food, and you've got so much on your mind, people are depending on you, and you're really feeling overwhelmed and inadequate in this warmth and self-compassion.
Feeling the deficit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or yeah, you saw too many billboards that pissed you off today. It can be really helpful to find a mantra or even just one word that brings you back to this place that Kevin just went through. I think taking time to meditate and really build that garden for yourself, garden of garden of love, that's really powerful. But you can't take 5-10 minutes to meditate when you've got 25 errands to do. And so if you can find a word that really ties you back to that, you can take 5-10 seconds to breathe and lock onto that word, that mantra, that can really help too. That can really help in the moment. And I just, in my own life, as much as I can stay in that zone, just everything is better. No matter how hard my day is, no matter if I have a big failure or just a shitty day, if I can still try to maintain that feeling, everything's going as well as it possibly could. And then on the good days, it's even more magnified. I feel luckier. I'm more in tune with my companions, everything. So, that
And
said,
if you keep yourself in this place of self-love and relaxing into the divine presence, I think that's an energy that fuels this visionary manifesting power
definitely.
and brings you closer to the aim of your life.
Love and be loved, dudes, gals, everybody.
All right, my friends, that's it for this week.
We will be coming at you soon with part 3 of Finding Love in the Modern World, where we're going to talk about how to be an amazing partner. What happens when you actually find love? Should you grow a pair of wings and fly off of a mountaintop? Yes, to all of those.
Yes, transcend space and time through romantic love today.
Tune in soon for the next episode.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Asclepion. We hope you enjoyed the show and that you feel uplifted, empowered.
Yeah, just make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on X and all that shit, all right?
Farewell, friends.